the beat for Shoulder Lean. I just immediately just went in the booth and just did the hook. Man, I don't want
We went
this
to
ain't
the club,
for me.
we came
I ain't
back.
finna do this. And nigga just say, shit, I'll take it. I was like, all right, bet. And we left, went to the club. By the time we came back, he had that motherfucking roll.
I knew it when I was writing it. I was so in tune to my look. I picture myself in the club, spreading out the crowd so they can observe the outfit that I had on. And I was like, oh, y'all gotta pay. It wasn't surprising to me. I thought that the world owed me back from what I had already in mind. I was living the dream that I dreamed in my sleep.
Then I let my trunk beat it. Then we take that girlfriend.
Yeah, it's the #1 co-signer, Don Cannon. I'm at my man Lil Ronnie's spot in Atlanta, Alpharetta to be exact. I'm here with my man C Gutta. We're doing another episode of Back Trak. Make sure you go get the Tomorrow gear, shoptomorrow.com, and like and subscribe now. This is an episode you don't want to miss. Shoulder Lean, we here, baby.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we got together and actually did something as pivotal and monumental as this.
Yeah, this is definitely
bringing
fun.
you here today for the remake of Shoulder Lean.
I appreciate you very, very much. Well, this is some classic shit.
Hey man, look, 2006 was a great year for both of us. Woo! You know, the Jeezys came out, the Tips came out, the Yo Gottis came out, the Slim Thugs came out. Like all these projects was on fire. You know, we had Gangsta Grills that was running the streets
T-Rock
at the time. You were running the streets with PSC and T.I., Grand Hustle.
As a teenager.
As a teenager, straight from Mississippi, man. Tell them about your background and where you from.
I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. You know what I mean? Based out there. Got started around 2005. Before then, I was just, you know, just cooking up citywide, city boy and country boy.
Yeah.
And just cooking up in the city and you know, coming from Jackson, Mississippi, you know, that's just a blessing, bro. So started back in 05 and I was making beats up on a radio station for real. Shout out to 97.7. But I was making beats up out of a radio station.
What age was this?
This is 16. This is 16.
16 years old.
Yeah, 16 years old, super early. And from there, it was just like, you know, Jeezy was doing a radio run. It's crazy. He was on like a Chitlin circuit radio run. And I was making beats downstairs, and he heard me from upstairs. The hell is that going on downstairs? And PD, Quasi, Scrap brought him downstairs, and it was like, you know, it's my young nigga making beats and shit. From there, it just blossomed, bro. He was working on Trap or Die at the time.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
Yep.
Being that young, I was fresh of knowing Jeezy, so I didn't really, you know.
16 is early, bro.
Yeah, it's early as shit.
That was your first placement, 16 years old?
Not my first placements. Before then, I was working with a camp out of there called One Life, One Love.
Okay.
Boo Rossini, Benz,
Yep.
Queen Boys, and we was pretty strong with Jeezy. So from there, it was Boo. I had a single called "Say It to My Face" remix.
To my face, nigga, tell me to my face, won't say it to my face.
So that was the first time I was really working. I met Swiss for the first time. That shit was dope.
And Boo was on Universal, right?
Yeah. No, he was on J Records.
J Records, that's right.
J Records.
Yeah, J Records, because we also did a Gangsta Grills with him too.
Right.
Yeah, back in
that.
that day.
I remember that. Yeah, that was early, bro.
Yeah, early days. Early days.
Yeah, and from there it was just that's when we met Jeezy and started coming to the A.
Dope. So you was going back and forth from Mississippi to the A before you actually moved?
Yep.
Okay.
Back and forth thing. From there, like I said, I met him at the radio station. He was working on Trap or Die, and that's when we took it to Atlanta. We did the mixtape. I did Rap Shit and You Ain't Perfect on there. I did 2 on there.
Yep.
So that was very, like, that was a monumental thing.
This particular project, Trap or Die, how did it make you feel? Like, man, I'm young. You didn't know the business yet, obviously, right?
Bro, I didn't know the business. I was learning, and it was just fresh. You know, not being like, I'm around Jeezy. I'm around. Of course, this is like Meech is out, so I was in the club. I was able to see all this shit. This shit is amazing. So you know, I was in during that life, and making music around that time. So it was just dope to be a part of that shit, to see it as it's going on.
Right.
But not knowing that it's gonna be bigger than life type
Right.
of shit, you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely dope.
Did you live in the A yet, or you were just?
I was just going back
Going
and
back and
forth.
forth.
Yeah, I was spending 2 weeks, 3 weeks out here, going back home for a couple of days. And that time I was being homeschooled for real.
Oh, word.
Yeah, mom and them, they believed in what I was doing, took me out, and I just started homeschooling. And they really believed, like, shout out to my mom and dad for real, because they was the ones that really put this together for real.
Right. You started early with playing the drums and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
In
I
the
started
church.
like at 4
What
years
age was
old.
that?
4 years old.
Prodigy.
Yeah, my aunt called me one day and was like, you know what, come up here and play these drums for the choirs. And I immediately left and went to go play drums. I was on like a little bitty drum set. And all you could really see is just the sticks swinging in the air for real. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
So it started from there, and just, you know, it just blossomed. I got older, kept playing drums for the choirs. And that's when I got into the studio and just started pressing buttons with my cousin.
What was the earliest year when you noticed that you were gonna be a musician in a sense of hip hop, like, and you know, whereas was it like 11, 12 when you was like, man, I want to make beats, I want to be a producer, or was it? Most of us started as rappers. Did you start rapping?
I did start rapping.
You was a rapper,
Got on the
okay.
radio back home, local radios back home. You know what? It's like, it's just cool, but I really want to be behind the scenes and make this music.
Right.
So that started like at 14, for real. I was just selling beats to, like, I was going to school and selling beats to like the kids and shit like that, bro.
Yep.
$300, $400, $500 here. And my mama was wondering, like, bro, I hope you're not doing what you, and like, nah, I'm selling beats. I'm doing what I, you know, doing what I
out
love.
there hustling for real.
Exactly. So I'm doing what I love. So, and it's paying bills. So that shit just, you know, it grew, for real.
Yeah. Coming to the A and being a part of the whole Jeezy era, how did you get to meet T.I., which was the king of the South already? You know what I mean? He already, by the time you came, he was already, maybe 5, 6 years in.
Yeah, so.
He was not, it was, you know, he had the song with Beanie Man, he had What's Your Name? He had got into, you know, the real trap album, which I call the epitome of trap albums. You know what I'm saying? Trap music. How did you meet him?
So coming back and forth from Jackson to Atlanta, well, of course I was working with Jeezy, and I did the My Hood record on Thug Motivation 101.
Yep.
That's when I first learned about interpolations. So it had an interpolation of the David Banner joint, Rubber Band Man. So that's why I was able to meet, you know, because everybody that was involved in that song, we had to do splits and everything. And I was coming to Atlanta, and I met Stay Fresh. And Stay Fresh introduced me to Jason. That's when I met Jason, JG, and he flew me and my pops out to Atlanta. And I came with my X6 board, Phantom, you know what I'm saying, and plugged up. And they was the day that I came out, they was shooting I'm a King with Lil Jon and Scrappy at the time. So they had the bus out there and everything.
Yep.
Plugged up, and that's my first time meeting Jay, the whole family for real, Tip, Dro.
Yeah, he was a superstar at that time.
Superstar. So that was the first time seeing him, meeting him, and that's where we connected, bro. And that's when I just started coming to the A more. I just knew I had to be in Atlanta more.
Yep.
I couldn't do nothing from being in Jackson, you know what I mean? It was
Right.
only so much I could do, so I really had to spend my time here and get it in where I fit in.
Yeah, no question. A lot of great talent came out of Mississippi and Jackson, for sure. You see Ray Shreemer came out of
Ray
there.
Shreemer.
Some of the best musicians, some of the best singers ever.
Crip,
I mean,
for sure,
I
yeah,
made
bunch
some
of
of my best shows was in Jackson, Mississippi,
Fire.
and Hattiesburg and Biloxi. I used to do that
Hattiesburg.
whole run as a DJ. Like I go Jackson, drive up,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Go to Biloxi, go to Hattiesburg.
That's cold.
Greg Street will hook me up with some gigs out there.
Greg Street.
When you were coming up, what was the famous genre, or what was the genre that everybody was headed to? I don't know if it was rap in general, but like what was everybody listening to? I know David Banner.
Of course, Banner.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course, I have to say, I was sitting on my couch 04, 05, and I was seeing, like, shout out to Reese and Bigelow. They had this song called Never Scared. That was my first time seeing Tip and Killer Mike, of course. Shout out to Killer. That was my first time seeing Tip, and I was like, yo, who is this? It's like, he's going crazy, and I want to work with him. And I was just sitting on the couch and I was like, yo, I need to get to Atlanta. I need to fuck with whoever that is.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, it was dope seeing that from the couch and then manifesting that and actually getting to the A and working with this nigga.
Facts.
That shit was different.
I tell people a lot of times the A is a place, it's a melting
special,
pot
bro.
in general, but it's special, bro. Everybody can come there. The opportunity is so manifesting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And those things, like even me, I came down, I didn't know what it was gonna be. I know I love music, but
Right.
just coming in there and just building and coming up with a genre that was moving already, seeing Lil Jon move. And you know, I didn't understand the culture at first, so I came down, I thought it was gonna be all booty shake. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was all gonna be Freaknik for the rest of my life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I got down here, it just was a different turn of events. What were those things? Was it a culture shock in Atlanta when you first got here? Obviously you were in good hands when you came down here. You wasn't a backpack and didn't know nobody. You knew JG. Jeezy was kind of in that same realm. Was it a culture shock to see the other stuff? Like, damn, how lively the city was. Like,
it was definitely a culture shock. I mean, coming from Jackson, coming from Mississippi all the way, it was definitely a culture shock because I felt like when you got here, everybody messed with each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody fucked with each other. Like, so
the Southern comfort effect.
Yeah. And I thought that was pretty dope. Like, I thought that was amazing. So it was like, it was new. You know what I mean? And me, even just coming from Jackson, I never had seen that before. You know what I'm saying? It was my first time really leaving the city and going somewhere and blossoming. Like everybody taking you in, like, you know what I'm saying, and creating with each other. That shit was different.
I can relate because any artist from around the world that came to Atlanta, it was still like a gatekeeper type of thing. But the people in the city, like me being new, I had no problem getting in the spot. Like they put me in with everybody. I was in the Tip. I didn't hardly know Tip.
Right.
It was like, yo, get in, play some joints. I was like, oh, okay.
Crazy.
You know, it was a different type of vibe for people coming to Atlanta.
Exactly.
When I would go to New York, I'd be like, man, you gonna jump through 4 hurdles to get to Thang. You know what I'm saying? You gonna jump thugh 4 hurdles to get to J.
Yeah.
Or 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then Atlanta was just like, it was welcoming. Like, just to be that young and to be able for me to go in the studio with Outkast and make some stuff for Drum's first album was just different for me. Like, you would have never thought that of the years that they done, how many records they done sold, all the years of stuff they put in. You know, they often protect the superstar, but in Atlanta, you came in, you manifested working with one of arguably the greatest rappers of our generation.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to ask the culture shock thing, because it just, sometimes it don't happen like that. You ain't going to California and jumping in the studio with Dr. Dre. It just don't happen like that.
Off top,
you know what I'm saying?
It don't.
And in that period, what was the sound that you were looking for? Like, how did you craft the sound that you stood out amongst other people that were already, you know,
right at that time?
Taking it there.
At that time, I felt like it was a lot of like snap music that was going on too at the time. We talking like 05, 06. You know what I mean? It was a lot of snap. So I wanted, you know, coming from the SIP, I just wanted to stand out, be different. I wasn't really into the snap, but I was just like, yo, let me try to get a pocket like this, like something that's in this pocket, something that's clubby in this pocket, but I'm not really, I might not have to use a snap. I might use a clap, I might use a snare, but really trying to make my own sound and be different and stand out. Like for real, whether it's 808 that I'm using, whether it's coming up with my own tag in a beat, you know what I mean, that I'm using throughout the beat or something. I just felt like I just had to be different.
Yeah, there was one thing that you probably didn't notice, but one of your weapons was livening up a room.
Yeah.
Like when you came in a room,
yo,
it was the funnest session, because it was like you in there goofing off, you know what I'm saying, having fun. You breaking all the tension in the room. If it's something there, like the way you handling it, like you just brought something to the room. Even around all the artists, you know, Big Country and Mac Boney and all these guys that was there, it was like something you brought to the room just made it fun. You know what I'm saying?
I was young, so I always like to have fun in the session, man. I feel like, you know, it's all about just having fun for real, and then creating the best music that you can create, for real. I hate when you try to go in the studio and be serious and like, nah, let's have fun. You know, when I was coming in the studio, I had my board, like, I mean, it wasn't no computer. It's like I had an X6, X7. I was on a plane with it. I remember even traveling with Till back in the day. It was just like, shit, I'm traveling with an MPC, like in a case, like, so going from that to like computer, it's like, thank you, God. What?
Said, get that out of there.
Yeah, it was like traveling with a lot of hardware. So even when I first came to Atlanta, I came on the bus with my board, and we plugged up the speakers, and I had to load up. I had like a scan disc.
Yep.
I had to load them into the X6 and go from beat to beat, load up each beat.
Yeah.
So that shit was funny.
Let's talk about the history of the studios with Grand Hustle as well. We had one that was passed down to us, which was 147 Walker Street.
Classic.
Which is more famous for the raid that happened with me and Drum back in the day. People don't know that studio was the original Grand Hustle studio.
Yeah.
What was that energy like over there before we got into it?
It was dope, bro. It was amazing. It was a lot of hits made in there. Small spot, you know what I'm saying? Super small spot. That's where Shoulderling was made at. That studio, you can catch me in there throughout the whole day. I might even sleep there and cook up, you know what I mean? It was just a spot where everybody called home, like for real, for real.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We didn't leave that spot for real, for real. And it was an office at the same time, so it was definitely early days for that spot.
Yep.
That I remember.
Who are some of the people, even the execs that were there, that people might know that are out there now? I know OG Clay.
OG Clay, rest in peace. Yeah. OG Clay, DP, Doug.
Yeah. Hannah
Kane, Jason, of course.
Yep.
That was the head honchos, for real. I'm just trying to remember back then.
It was so many, bro. Y'all was deep.
Y'all
was deep.
It was super deep.
It was fun times. I remember coming by there and just dropping off BCDs.
Yeah.
I never knew that we will be in that studio with our own. It's like, you know, it was passed down.
Yeah.
Which you don't see that in other cities as well, man, to pass down a heritage. I mean, sometimes you get a studio and you might get it after somebody, but it was because we were in the family that it was like, yo, y'all can get this spot, we moving to a new spot.
Got a lot of studios in Atlanta, bro, that are classic spots. That's one of those spots where it's like, yeah, that goes down in history as patchwork. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Like, Walker Street was definitely one of those buildings for that.
Moving into the next spot, which was that the Fours?
That was
or was that the one over there off of Howe Mill? That wasn't a studio, that was just
that was just an office. So that was just an office.
So the studios was on
Dip 4. It was like, the next studio after that was Dip 4. That was an amazing spot.
Amazing. So I'm gonna tell you what I loved about it. The first thing, just growing up a kid, just playing basketball and producing. When I first got there and got to that gate, and saw the basketball courts.
Ooh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit!
Hey man,
a fucking basketball court at a studio. I never seen nothing like this.
Yeah, that spot. It was a lot of legs broken on that court.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you, when I was out there, I'm like, they shooting for money. I remember seeing couple $1,000 over here, people shooting. I'm like, yo, you could actually go in there, cook, and then while they lay in the verses, go outside and play hoop.
Yeah, that's crazy. One of our dopest spots that we had, for real. Kitchen inside of it. That was another spot that we didn't have to leave, for real. You know what I mean?
It had 3 major rooms, but then you had a room too.
I had a room, I had a room, first it started upstairs, and then I had the basement downstairs. Just to rock out, you know.
What records did you make out of there?
What records did I make out of that? I made Porn Star for Paper Trail. I Don't Know Y'all by Dro. A lot of records that was made out of that, for real. Raw, T.I. versus T.I.P. I Need Some Weed, Man. Higher Learning by Jeezy, for real.
A lot of records came out of that.
Yeah, a lot of records came out of that.
What was the point of where you knew, like, okay, I'm about to be a superstar producer after doing those big records like that? And getting those calls, what was your first thought like, bro, I'm here?
Definitely probably say Dro first album, for real. After Dro, really, I felt good having 4 on Dro first album, but when I got the tip, it was like, I got Tip and Jeezy, 2 of the biggest niggas in Atlanta, like, for real. I can go back and forth, probably, like, I'm like, what is it? What else?
What we doing?
What are we doing?
What we doing?
So I'm calling both of them, and I'm like, you know, I got both of the hottest niggas in Atlanta, so for real. So shit, like, it was after that where I was like, yeah, I'm here.
How on fire was your phone?
On fire.
You said on fire. Who was one of the biggest names that hit you think, at that time after you did those records?
Oh, man. Sheesh. I was getting calls from Tiger. Fucking who else? Chris, Tiger. It was like Tiger and Chris, for real, because I did both
Chris
of them.
Brown, yeah. Chris Brown's a megastar.
Yeah, that was a megastar. 2 Chainz. Really, bro, the whole Atlanta, for real. I was getting it in.
Yeah.
Ross, of course.
Yep. Shot to Ross.
Yeah, everybody came through, for real.
let's jump into the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
What's your weapon of choice? You say you started with an X6. So people that don't know what the X6 is, what's the X6?
So X6, it's crazy. I did my hood off a rolling MC909.
MC909.
You
That's
remember
one thing people do not
That's
talk
like,
about.
and that was like the box, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, the MC909, I made my hood off of MC909 rolling, and then from there, it went to the X6.
And what's the X6?
It's a rolling keyboard. It's a rolling keyboard sampler. Yeah.
Okay. Was that the Phantom X6?
The
or
Phantom,
just
Phantom
Phantom
X6.
X6. Okay.
Phantom X6.
The MC909, where'd you get that?
Man, shout out to my uncle. My uncle Carl bought that for me.
For real?
Yeah.
He was like, you about to be the one. You need
like,
this.
Nigga, you need this. Shout out RP. Yeah, he bought me that first one. Before I had that, I had like a small, like, rolling beat machine, bro. It was like looked like a calculator, for real. It was like a little blue one.
Yeah,
Then upgraded to the MC909, and then from there it went to the X6, the X6 Phantom. Yeah, the MC909, that was different. That was a learning experience for me, and I was able to make my own sounds in that. Came with sounds. I made a lot of heat up in that. I was making beats out of that one back in Jackson in my 2-bedroom apartment, for real. And I stayed with my parents. That shit was crazy. It was a vibe. But when I got to that X6 Phantom, it was different because I was able to, load up, save sounds, and make my own sounds at the same time. But the thing is, I just had to carry that shit everywhere.
Yeah,
it
was a heavy keyboard. It was a 61 key?
Yeah, it was a 61, yeah.
What made you lean more into just like the keyboard sounds instead of like, sampling and doing certain things?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was just something that I learned on, for real. Yeah. I didn't get into the MPC until I met Tip, for real. Tip had all this hardware, bro. All these beat machines and shit like that. So I really didn't get into the MPC until I started coming to Atlanta and messing with him, for real.
Which MPC did he have?
Man, he had the 3000 and the 4000.
Okay. Which one did you gravitate to?
4000.
Why? It was a CD drive.
Yeah, it was the CD drive, but also it was just like, it was just what was convenient for me, for real, what was in front of me. He had the 4000 and the 3000 later, but that 4000, it was just like, it was a blue 4000. And basically gave me that, and I just started creating off that.
What made him buy all the equipment? Did he know he was buying it for y'all, or was he trying to get into making beats?
Of course, he was making beats too as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Chip was always making beats.
I think I do remember that period when he was trying to get into it.
Yeah, Chip was making beats. He used to make beats before I even came to Atlanta. He was making beats, but we created a group called Smash Factory between me, him, and Mars.
I remember that.
Between me, him, and
Mars.
Yeah, between me and Mars.
Y'all had a lot of records. I remember seeing some CDs, bro.
We did. We had a lot of records. We got records with Tink. Got records with a bunch of Nelly, a bunch of people, bro.
Smash Factory.
Yeah.
That's a legendary group right there.
That's a legendary group.
In those sessions, did you think that you were gonna make something as legendary as Shoulder Lean?
Nah, it was just crazy. I was just creating. You know what I mean?
You didn't have no thought process.
No thought process.
You was like, yo, I need to give this young dude this type of record.
To be honest, I probably made that beat. Well, I made that beat back in Jackson under the studio and the radio station at the time, and I was just cooking up, creating the sound, for real, bro. I just knew somebody would probably mess with these beats one day. I didn't know who, but I was just really trying to create a sound, for real, and not knowing who it was gonna be for, but.
Was your mindset, I need this beat to be on anybody, or was like, I need this for Tip, and then it landed on Dro? I know some people was like, man, I never wanted my beat to be for this person. I made it for them, but then it wound up.
Yeah.
Or was you like, man, I want somebody to do this justice?
I just, that's basically what I was on. I just wanted somebody to do the beat justice, for real. I was always cooking up every day back at home. It's never a day that I wasn't cooking up. So I was always cooking up just to be ready for something like that. You feel me? Just to have them archives, them vaults ready for tracks like that, for artists like that. But I just knew I just had to get to a place where I could go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who it's gonna be for, but I gotta get somewhere to somebody to fuck around with these shits. And shit, it was Atlanta, for real.
Yeah, I remember just being in the club as a DJ, just playing it. That'd be my club starter.
Yeah.
When I come in and had a last set, Shoulder Lean was from the top. See, Gutta.
I remember making a joint. We was at Walker Street, and I had, you know, being that early stage, Tip was, I just know, you know, I wanted to get something on it. You know, Tip come in the studio, he want to hear beats, and I was like, just one day he came in and he was like, nigga, plug up. Like, all right. Started going through beats, played the shoulder lean beat, and I remember seeing him back and forth. This was like seeing him walking pace back and forth. You know how Tip be.
Yep.
Get in the booth and he's doing the hook. This shit sounds like something. This is something I have never did before, that I've never heard before, but I know he's going crazy. This is different. And I didn't really hear him on the verses. He didn't even hear himself on the verses for real, for real. So it stopped right there. Not knowing who it was gonna be for, he ended up calling Dro to the studio. Nigga, I got something for you. The next day I come in, Dro has already laid his verses, going crazy. Crazy. And that's when he was like, yo, Jay, get to the studio. That was my first time really seeing a hit record come into play, bro, because Jay came to the studio and he played this record back 100 times. And I didn't even really understand why he was playing this. I was like, yo, this nigga just listened to this shit like 100 times, bro, back to back. It was like, yo.
Infectious.
Yeah.
Infectious.
Like, yo, we got something. And from there, bro, shit, I want to say, not long, probably a week, that shit was on the radio, for real, for real. That shit went like that. Ain't gonna lie to you this, we went over to Zach Studios. Didn't know what we was going for. It was me and Jay. And me and JG, we went go over there. It's Polo over there working at Zach's.
Yep.
And, you know, everybody had got whiff of it back then. And I remember when we went over there and Polo was like, yo, I'll give you 30K. You know, I'm coming from Jackson. I'm not even knowing. I just never seen 30K. Like,
said 30K?
30K. I was like, Jay, you sure you don't want to? He's like, nah, bro, chill out. Like you gonna get way more than 30K off this shit. Like,
He wanted to buy the song?
yeah, he wanted to buy the record.
Oh.
Shout out to Polo. But like,
Shout out to Polo.
yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, I know when Tip was laying that hook, and now that you're explaining how that whole transition went from you making the beat and him doing a hook, it reminded me of seeing him back in the studio when you was talking about how he used to pace back and forth. The shoulder lean, when he used to walk back and forth, he used to do this, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, okay, his shoulder was leaning, so then he actually be like, yo, shoulder lean, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to watch him do that every time, even on stage, he'll hit you with this.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, man, maybe he had that thought process already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Tip is he's a different artist, bro, when it comes to that, because it's like, you know, he's not writing nothing down. He's pacing back and forth, writing with his hands damn near. And then you go in the booth and just see this magic appear, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's what you was drawing up.
That's a gift.
Yeah, that's a
gift.
It's a super gift.
That's a gift. So we're gonna get into the breakdown of it. Well, we're really about to remake it.
Yeah.
From scratch.
Okay.
These are sounds you crafted.
Yeah, these are sound crafted because you got to understand I made this in an X6 rolling Phantom, so it was just like, that board is not with me today.
Yeah.
But I still have those same sounds though.
Yeah, it's a crazy board to keep. I just bought one just to have.
I love that
Which
shit.
reminded me was DJ Toom, shout out to him, how many hits he made on there. And I saw a video one day and I was like, bro, I used to have all these keyboards, but when I thought things went digital, I thought all the keyboards and stuff was gonna be out of control. But now they back and they worth a lot more money. So I started buying up all my old shit again.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, let me go get the Phantom first. I went and got the Phantom Motif. I bought a couple MPCs. But one thing I'm missing out of my X6 is the cards.
Bro, the expansion cards?
Bro, I don't have the card. I can't find them.
I went crazy on the expansion cards.
That
bro.
was everything, bro.
Oh my gosh, that was the best thing about the Phantom. Was buying all the expansion cards, and I went crazy on the expansion cards.
The SRX, dance joint,
all that,
the orchestra.
Yeah, I love that.
Bro.
But you know, just creating my sounds on there and making sounds on there was amazing. So I was able to keep those same sounds on the hard drives that I do have, on the big ass hard drives I do have. I still have. Those shits is crazy. I should have bought those. Them dinosaurs.
Yeah, we dinosaurs.
Those are dinosaur drives. But yeah.
All right, we're getting into it. BackTrak. What was your first steps when making this beat? What did you go for? Did you like, yo, I'm normally on piano first, normally on drums first? Like, what was your first steps?
I definitely came up with like a quick melody, for real. So I went to the piano first. The piano's first with a melody. So some shit like
Sounds sinister
Super bass.
already.
Sinister already, basic.
Man, I'm so terrible at keyboards. I would have never came up with this damn melody, bro.
It was stupid, man.
Yeah, bro. I just not good at that. I play after the fact. Like I'll sample and be
I
like,
feel
I'm
that.
following what the sample doing.
To me, man, I was just like, you know what? I kept the same sound and went like on some bass keys with it. Go. Right. Nah, for real.
That's what it make you do.
So after that, bro, it was some claps that I made out of the X6, yeah.
So then you had to make your sounds, but you didn't have any drum kits, right?
Right, no, I didn't have
Yeah,
I didn't have
so
any
there
drum
were no
kit, so
drum
I really
kits.
had to make most of my sounds for real.
That's crazy. And how'd you make them? When you found them, did you just like pitch them down? Did you add
Yep,
like, echo or reverb?
Some of them I pitched them down, or some of them I just took extra
combined
claps
them?
and just stacked them on top of each other for real.
Okay. So when you made this particular clap, it was a combination of claps?
Claps, yeah.
Okay.
It was probably like 3 claps for real, on top of each other.
Okay. So when you're doing this, I'm noticing that you're doing a whole 8 bars instead of 4 bars.
Yeah, I went 8 bars with the whole.
You're always an 8 bar dude? Or
so
you do
it's just-
16, or you just ain't one?
Sometimes I might do 4.
Okay.
But this particular beat, I went 8 bars, just so it didn't have to be the same thing.
Okay. Did you make this 808 too?
This is a stock
Stock?
808, bro. This is a stock 808.
So what did you have to add to it? Or you just left it?
I just left it.
And why was that? Because you was
I
like, you didn't
haven't.
feel like it?
You know, for real, I was just really trying to find the right 808. This was early stages, bro. So
Right.
I just had to find the right 808. But in that particular board that I was in, it was like, this was the hardest 808 to me.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so I was on some shit like.
My man's a fucking champion. He remember that whole thing.
Yeah, niggas be like, no, copy paste is like.
Yeah,
nah,
I'm
nigga,
over
I
here
just-
like,
I just do
damn,
the
I
whole
ain't
thing.
remember that shit. His memory is incredible.
I use the open hat as like a snare on top of the.
Gotcha. So are you big on formatting, or you just
I love
print it
formatting.
out? Oh, you love formatting.
Yeah, I
so
love
that's
formatting.
a form. You're
Yeah.
a real producer.
Yeah, I love formatting, bro.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie.
Got you.
I went,
And it's the X6 kit too?
yeah,
Dope.
yeah. So a lot of them sounds I just saved, bro. I just put in like I put it in those sounds from there, from the X6. I put it in the EX24, the EXS24,
Yup.
and just really just sampled the shit up in there.
Yep.
I kept this super over.
you got the club bounce already. I'm like, yo, what? It's real important too, knowing that, you know, Nuck If You Buck and all those things were out at that time.
Yeah.
How did you know that I wanted to be different slightly from that sound that was already going? Because it was super aggressive, but you made like a
super aggressive,
like a club bop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I just wanted it to be, yeah, those records were super aggressive. Like niggas is fighting each
That's
other.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying in that time period.
I just knew I just wanted to be club. I wanted to be something that you can really dance to for real, for real. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Still hit hard in the club.
And don't fight.
Yeah, but like grab you some bad to dance to.
Yeah, get the shorties involved.
Yeah, get the shorties involved.
Yeah.
Make up a dance, whatever it was at the time. But like you say, you had all these dance songs going on. But
Right.
I wanted to hit some like super. I wanted some super aggressive hard, but you can still dance to type
Yeah,
shit.
no question.
Super simple. Crash cymbal.
Who mixed this record?
Ray C.
Ray C.
Shout out to my guy
The
Ray
legendary
C.
Ray C. What's up, boy?
Yeah, Ray C mixed this. He mixed a lot of like all my records, bro. Mixed the whole Dro album for real, all four that I did on
Yeah,
there.
Ray C.
Yeah, he's a classic. So I made some congos.
Okay.
Made my own Congo loop like type shit.
Congos is fire. Why'd you choose the Congos?
Bro.
Just
You know
like,
what?
I need
I
more
don't.
percussion,
I'm a
more
percussion.
rhythm.
I'm a percussion guy for real.
Gotcha.
For real. So I grew up in school playing drums,
Right.
playing the percussion and shit like that.
So you know the turnarounds. and things you
Yeah,
did.
I always loved the percussion, the toms, the percussion, the
Right.
quads, like
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So. I had more percussion in there, so I went triangle.
Wow. You gotta remember.
Scratch. Scratch.
As a producer, when do you know enough is enough when it comes to the sounds? Like, I need to leave room for the
It
rapper.
definitely. I try to live by that code to the day. I try to really just go back and be like, nigga, okay, stop putting so much in the beat. And it's like it don't need much, cause the less is better, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Most producers don't learn that only because they're in the room or in their studio making the beats. You know what I'm saying? They're not around artists, so they don't know that the last voice is the instrument.
yeah.
Do you get that beforehand? Did you get that beforehand?
That was the creative process. Even when I was coming up, it was like I always was putting less in my beats, like a couple of sounds. But then it was like the more I grew and the more creative I grew mentally, it was just like, you know what? I like live sound, so I was always adding more, taking away, adding more, taking away. But even being in with the artists, they was like, you know, keep this in there, take this out, we'll do. So I learned to live with less in the beat, in the track for real. And if I need it, I keep it. You know, it might become a bridge, or I might change the track up or something like that, like nowadays type.
Yeah.
But you know, back then it was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep this shit super
Leave it
simple.
open, you get the back on, you do the post-production.
Exactly.
When this record was done, did you have to add post-production, or it was already
No,
done?
it was done.
Done.
It was done. Did like the sequence for real, breaks, pretty much, and that was pretty much it, bro.
Being that was the beginning was the X6. Did y'all have something you could put on a master inside the X6? Or
Nah,
it was just
not that
plain.
I didn't. Yeah,
Just had to leave it
I was,
plain?
yeah, I just had to leave it plain. Well, I did.
So how'd you get it loud enough so when you was like going to these sessions?
I was basically tracking it out into Pro Tools. So once I tracked it out into Pro Tools, of course
Got it. So
you know
then you
what I'm
did your thing in
saying?
Pro
Yeah,
Tools. All right,
yeah.
that makes sense.
which was the worst shit ever.
Tracking out. Right?
Oh,
Yeah, because you had to track out each sound for 5 minutes.
yeah, bro. It was crazy. I remember even coming when I first came to Atlanta. When we was doing the Thug Motivation, it was just like I had to track those sounds out, and I was doing that out of the MC 909. And it's like, bro, what are we doing?
I was telling people that's what happens with the ASR when I was trying to track out
had to
beats.
track out,
5
yeah.
minutes, not locking up,
That's
just
just crazy.
putting back.
You have to line it up yourself. It's crazy.
Metronome.
With this last sound, bro, it was more so kind of like trying to create a sound. So even when I was back in Jackson, I was just trying to come up with my own
Signature.
Yeah, my own signature, my own tag, my own signature. Saying different ad-libs and shit like that, which is funny. So I got in the booth and did like different ad-libs, and I came up with
What? Ho. So that sounded everybody like that was you?
that was me. I remember being up in the session with E40 and I was making a beat, and I finished the beat, and he was like, "Yo, that ain't finished yet. What a what?" I was like, "Oh, you talking about the whoa?" I bet. Gotcha.
That's the signature, bro.
Beat.
Ooh, that's crazy. You on some DJ shit now.
Right. So that was the sound. That was that signature sound. You know.
And what I love about that sound is nobody else got it. I see it come up in a couple packs, but nobody knows where it came from. And that's the history of it. You having that home signature like that is crazy.
Bro, I ran with that, and that was just like, you know what I mean? That just really just made my sound. So I was getting in sessions, and it was like, yo, nah, you gotta put what a sound at? What a signature?
In the sequence of it, what's the difference of the verse and the hook? Knowing that all the sounds are there right now, what was the difference between the hook's version of that beat and the verse?
It was a sound that I took from the that I don't have on me. It was a sound that came out of the X6. It was like a synced sound, bro, that I don't have with me today. It was like on some bells.
And that was the only thing you heard.
Yeah, that was
between the hook and the verse.
That, because everything else stayed in there, and it was just basically just breaks for real. But it was just this one synth sound that I played on top of the organs that stood out as, you know, that was the difference from the hook and the verse. Yeah. That was basically it for real.
How about your tag? Because besides the woes, the tag was notorious.
Yeah, the tag. C got a tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another.
And who did that?
That was me.
So you did your own tag.
I did my own tag. I did my own woes. Yeah.
What made you want to do your own tag instead of going to say, "Yo, Tip, can you do me a tag?" Or "Yo, Dro, can I get a tag?"
Because I had a tag before I even got to Atlanta. So Tip wasn't even around. Yeah. So he wasn't even around at the time that I created the tag. It was just something that I already had.
Right.
Mapped out for real. Yeah, bro. Like I said, I was like, yo, let me figure this shit out on my own, see what I can. That's gonna be me. You know what I mean? That I can take to.
After having a couple hit records, did you ever think about changing your tag, or you was like, nah, it's gotta stay the same, bro?
I did. I low-key did, but it was just like I would get into sessions and then it would be like,
people would say your tag.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, let me get
like,
that tag, and it was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type shit. So
Right.
I was just like, you know, I keep the same thing and run with it.
So
Plus,
there
I'd
was
be able
something
to
you
build
did.
that
The tag
longevity with it.
was a phaser or something on it.
Yeah, it was a phase on it. It was a phaser. I had like it was, matter of fact, it was a phase on it. Other than that, it was pretty simple, for real. I know everybody be going to different, probably like different. I've never been in like different sites where you can get your tag from. And shit like that and shit.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a minute.
Yeah.
I just felt like a lot of the early stuff, I think, I can't claim it, but I think our era was where we had a tag.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people had tags. Let me think. Who else had a tag then?
Drummer do his own. Yeah, he do his own
Drummer
tag.
had a tag. Shorty Red's tag was the 4-bar intro.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Beat Billionaire had a tag.
Big Billionaire, he did have a tag. Did KO have a tag? I'm trying to remember. Did KO?
I don't know if KO did.
I don't remember if KO had a tag, but yeah.
But yeah, that was like the distinguished. Like,
Yeah.
even though, you know, one of the things I will always say is people would not know who the producer was, but when we went to Compound and all them places,
Yeah.
they'd be like, see, Gutta, you can get in
Yeah.
the club now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the tag, was like, let me in the club, bro.
At an early age.
Alex ain't letting us in the club, bro.
That was crazy.
Shout out to
Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Alex.
Shout to Alex Giddywan.
Yeah, man.
AG.
And that was where I got a lot of my, you know what I mean? I got a lot of my inspiration was the club, bro, because I would leave the club and go right back to the studio and cook up.
We would
You know
do
what
the
I'm saying?
same thing, bro.
That was
Same
was
thing.
amazing.
I'm seeing this in Logic. Is that your second? That's what you use now?
That's what I use now. So I'm in the MPC, of course. This is the mobile joint. But I
Right.
still got my MPC, and I go MPC Logic for real, back and forth.
Oh, and do you
And I got like sound modules. I got like VSTs in this, of course.
Do you
But
like the software better than hardware?
Hell yeah, because I can move around with it. But I ain't gonna lie, I love the hardware still though. Because when I'm at home, I can do the hardware stuff, you know what I mean? But I don't, when I'm out moving around, going to different cities, it's like I got everything in here at the same time with the VSTs and shit.
Before we get out of here, would you say this is your biggest record or one of your most valuable records? So now when I ask people that, I mean, there's a difference between the two. You have your biggest record and then you have the ones where you go outside and people are like, yo, you changed my life with that record.
Yeah, this is definitely, you say a valuable?
Is it valuable or is it your biggest record?
It's definitely one of my biggest records, I would have to say, yeah. Because I got valuable records too at the same time. Like, of course, you know, I crossed over into the Latin world, but also like the movie stuff, like the Furious Sevens and stuff like that. It's like, it hit different too. Like that shit.
Money-wise. Money-wise, it hit different. It hit different.
But this is definitely, this is one of my biggest records for real, for sure.
Yeah, you made a
for sure.
classic for that.
And this is when ringtone money was out too, so it was like,
ringtone money. Hold up, whoa.
Like that shit.
Ho.
Yeah, don't talk too much about that.
Nobody that we
don't
talked about ringtone. We
Yeah,
gotta
I
talk
don't
about
know.
it for 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like
Y'all don't
the
know about ringtone money.
Whoa.
Anybody watching this, if y'all in y'all teens, y'all wouldn't know what a ringtone is. I feel
Yeah,
you.
the ringtone
That's
money is
y'all. TikTok is
crazy.
y'all new ringtone.
Yeah, and that ain't.
You see what I'm saying?
Like,
So ringtone. Let's get into that. What was ringtone money? What was a ringtone? A ringtone was something that you could answer
that
your
you answer your phone.
and put your favorite song on your ringtone.
Yeah,
Like things
so
like that. But we got paid from
God,
it. And
oh
you
my
remember
God.
that check that used to come in?
Do I?
Ringtone
man.
money was crazy. What was your biggest ringtone check? Well, it had to be shoulder lean.
Yeah, it definitely was shoulder lean.
Okay.
But before I even did my pub deal, you know, I was seeing two of them things. So I probably was probably seeing an 80K check for ringtone. It ain't no problem.
Just
I think
ringtone.
Yeah, just ringtone. So like that ain't had nothing to do with like the radio or nothing.
Right.
That was like,
that's ringtone.
yeah, they had to cut that out because niggas was getting too rich off that shit. Like, what are you doing? It's like the ringtone was like,
Yeah, I remember running around. I was like, yo, when I get my ringtone check, I'm gonna come. You know what I mean? I'm talking
outta
about
here.
a Fezzy.
Nah,
go buy some
that-
jewelry. I'm like, yo, when I get my ringtone check, I'm gonna go and get this chain. Like,
I
that's
believe
crazy.
that was me, Mom Dukes, Dad. Like, that was different for to see that part when that ringtone check came in, man. That was different. That really when I was like, okay, this is different. This ain't gonna last long. I don't think so.
When they be talking about rappers and producers that got old money, that's where it used to come from.
Yeah,
And honestly,
the ringtone.
my mom, when I showed her, she really knew that I wanted to do this, but really she didn't start believing until I started just showing her like, yo, look at this.
Yo,
She like, what's that? I said, this a ringtone check. You know what I mean? She like, all right, well, keep doing what you're doing. That looks exciting.
you're right. Niggas don't talk about that much. Like as far as like the ringtone money, that shit hit different back then, bro.
Yeah, it did.
I wish we could see that today.
Well, TikTok, start giving us the ringtone money
I'm trying to
back.
tell you, yeah, make sure it beat at that rate that was back then.
Make sure it be the ringtone style, man. This is BackTrak, Lil C, Gutta, Don Cannon, you know what it is. Shoulder lean.
You feel me?
Shoulder lean.